What's going on? Chaplain Mark back with you again. We're gonna go ahead and complete our how to purchase a car series. We're gonna complete it with our what my favorite part of buying a car: the negotiation, the actual purchase. I'm rolling in the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sport. Pretty cool little Jeep. But when you go and complete the purchase of a vehicle, the negotiation is where the magic happens. Once you make it past your initial fill-ins of the car, sizing up the person who's selling the car, then you move next towards the mechanical things that the car is going to need. You've test driven it, you like it, you've assessed what you might have to put into it. Because let's be honest, if you're buying a used car, it's gonna need something, okay? It's very rare that you going into a deal buying a used car and it needs nothing. Even if it needs to be cleaned up, it still needs something. And that's fine, you know. We'll cover the next thing. I think I'll go with is the used car versus new car. That's a debate that goes back and forth all the time. But when we get to negotiating a price, say a person wants $4,000 for that beautiful Lexus LS430 or any vehicle of choice, it's all gonna make it. It's all gonna be the same. Whether actually, even if it's a new, negotiation is negotiation. Regardless of what a person tells you, they got wiggle room. Very rare, and there are instances where a person is absolutely 100% firm, but that's not gonna be the case most often. Most of the time, people gonna have a little room already baked into their price. They know that they got to give a little bit, and they fine with it most of the time, but their goal is to get as much money as possible, preferably asking price, but that's not what you want to do. So how do you negotiate a fair price for the vehicle? Well, just because the vehicle needs work doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to meet you at that price for all of the work it needs. This is where you have to already have it established in your mind, a price that you're willing to pay for that vehicle. Maybe you're willing to pay for the asking price. And even if that's the case, you still want to go into that deal with a little wiggle room, you know, $200-300 here and there, but you work that out. So here's my thought process. I add up the cost. The vehicle's gonna cost $4,000. In order for me to get it fixed the way I want it to be, is probably gonna cost maybe, let's say it costs $500 initial on my initial assessment of what the vehicle is gonna cost. So that's gonna bring the price, total price to $4,500. That's the asking price plus $500 to get it where I want it to be. Also, keep in mind, you got to play your DMV, Secretary of State, all that kind of cost, all that stuff that you need to think about when you going to actually negotiate at the table of a car. Now, I don't expect, it happens sometimes, but I don't necessarily expect the seller to meet me all the way on that $500 of repairs that I anticipated needing. But I'm going to ask for it. So, depending on, and you got to be a good assessor of a person, you got to be able to kind of discern whether or not this person that you're dealing with is actually worth even negotiating with. Some people have such an attitude problem that you better off either deciding to buy the car or just to keep on rolling. But that's neither here nor there. Here is the hardcore facts. If I determine that I really want this vehicle, I'm going to offer him $3,500 and hope that he takes it. I don't like to go too much lower than, if I feel like I have to go lower than $500 just to offer, I'm probably going to just go ahead and find another car, because that means that this car needs too much work, or the negotiation process is not even worth my time. So I'm gonna go ahead and offer $3,500. Most negotiating people, they're gonna look at you and, you know, give you a face or tell you, no, that's too low, all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. Your question is, well, what are you willing to go down? I got to do such and such and such and such. I really like the car. You don't want to insult people. You know, you want to encourage them and, you know, compliment them at the same time, letting them understand that, listen, I'm not about to give you your asking price. Usually, if you can meet in the middle of what you offered and what they're asking, usually that's a good enough deal to go ahead and get the trigger pulled. But again, these are things that you got to know that you firm on going into a negotiation. A lot of deals get broke down, or people wind up paying a little bit more than they wanted to. The one thing I don't do is go into a negotiation or go to purchase a vehicle and they're asking $4,000 and I never intended on paying $4,000, even if the car was well worth it. I go in with the intention that I might have to pay this full price, especially if the vehicle's worth it. You know, you'll determine that through the steps that I laid in my other vehicle videos. So we've gotten to the point where either we at an agreement or at a disagreement. There are plenty of vehicles out there. Let me tell you something. The most important part of purchasing a vehicle, and I may not have mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it now because I feel like this is the time that you need to understand this the most. Patience. Patience, patience, patience. When you purchasing anything, the most important part of your purchase is going to be you being patient. That's going to carry over into life. That's going to carry over into everything you do. Being a person that's patient and not a person that feels like they forced or have to pull the trigger right away is going to lead you into the best deal possible. Not just in buying a car, buying a house, your life, with your relationships, everything. Your ability to take your time, make assessments, use wisdom, and not feel like you have to do anything. That car is loud and it probably sucks, you know. I hope he didn't do that on purpose. But anyway, patience is going to be your number one quality in life, especially when it comes to finances and purchasing things. So guys, that's my little 2-bit suggestion for you. Negotiate in good faith. Don't be insulting, but at the same time, make your assessments and stand firm on what you believe that you should pay for a thing. And at the end of the day, you're gonna get a vehicle. There's plenty of people selling cars, and just because you like the color of that paint don't mean they stop making cars. You know, that paint and that car is available a lot more than you think, and more oftentimes than not, after you purchase a car, you'll wind up seeing the same car you purchased for a cheaper price. And it's usually a slap in the face, but you know what? It is what it is. This is Chaplain Mark here with you, your favorite chaplain, and for most of you, your only chaplain, telling you that the most important part of purchasing a vehicle, well, is being patient. There's a lot of things you can't control, but guess what? being patient is one of those things you can. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it needs to be done. And as always, you guys be blessed and stay encouraged.